Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are tuned in to the JMOR Tech Talk Show, and we'll be starting momentarily. This is the place to ask those questions about PCs, technology, challenges with your iPhone, perhaps pairing it to your car, or maybe those smart devices that are supposed to make life easier at home or in the office, but just don't seem to. And now, please help me welcome the CEO and founder of the JMOR Connection Incorporated and the star of tonight's show, Mr. John C. Morley. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the JMOR Tech Talk Show, right here live on the Starcom Radio Network, broadcasting Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern to 9:57 p.m. So tonight, I'm sure a lot of you, I know I definitely got up early last week and was ready to put my order in. Actually, I got up early and had my order all set at about 5 minutes to the hour of 3 o'clock a.m., that is. And just waiting there, probably around 2:55, I put it in because they don't give you too much time before the website actually expires. And you have to put all the information all over again. So right about 2:55, I started putting the order in. I clicked the OK button to submit it right at 3 a.m. And why is it 3 a.m.? Because Apple is out on Pacific Standard Time, so they actually do it at midnight. And that's why we do it at 3 a.m., because it's actually midnight, which would be California Pacific Time. So I'm supposedly going to get my new iPhone 8. It looks like it's they got an issue with shipping, so we're looking about 1 to 2 weeks. I know they said we were going to get it next week, which was supposed to be basically the 26th, 27th, and now they're saying it's going to be that first or second week of October. So if you haven't pre-ordered your iPhone, I would definitely go out there and make sure you do so, because apparently the shipping times are going to be slightly longer than what Apple had expected. I don't know why that is, but Apple's Apple, so we really can't say too much there. But I guess, they weren't ready for the push. That's all I could think of. Anyway, tonight we have a lot of great things happening. First thing I want to talk to you about is how technology has definitely changed quite a bit. And the most important thing that I want to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, is that with technology, we have a very interesting piece of technology that actually started not too long ago. And this particular piece of technology is called Pilo. I'm not sure if you all know who Pilo is, but Pilo is a new personal home health robot. No, he's not going to make your breakfast for you, and he's not going to go to the dry cleaners for you, and he's not going to draw your bath water or make sure your shower's warm. He's not going to do any of those things. What is Pilo? Well, Pilo is your personal home health robot. He allows people at all different ages to have a better quality of life. One of the things that the makers that designed it said is that he can answer health questions, wellness questions, so he connects directly with the internet, and he can also talk to your healthcare professionals, and he supposedly can, they claim, securely manage your vitamins and your medication, the storing and the dispensing, and even ordering refills when they're required. He's supposedly this intelligent new device, they call it a platform, that is supposed to grow over time. State-of-the-art voice and facial recognition, so that when you're near Pilo, Pilo can answer questions like how many calories in a carrot. He can give you some little pats on the back, saying, great, that's good, Kara, good, that's good, Michael, or that's good, John. That's actually going to increase your blah, blah, blah of immunity or whatever. So he does these kinds of things. What's Pilo going to cost you, Bass? Well, it's about $299 to $309 the estimated street price right now. Very similar to an Alexa, like with the Alexa, like with Amazon. But Pilo is going to do a little bit more in the sense that Pilo has facial recognition technology. And we're going to see more and more devices on the market now that are going to have facial technology, face recognition technology. So he's an intelligent robot platform. He has a state-of-the-art voice and facial recognition technology. So he can very easily discern who he's talking to or who's in front of Pilo, so that only the correct pill or vitamin is dispensed to the appropriate person. And he can give you reminders, alerts. He can send mobile notifications to other family members, so that if something happens to a family member, if they don't take their medication or something happens, so he can alert people. He's wirelessly able to sync with wearables and home smart devices. And this intelligent platform is supposed to enable a lot of new and exciting features. But it's supposedly created for peace of mind. So Pilo, Pillo, is basically your on-call help advisor in the home. So we can manage health questions about medications, supplements, answers questions about your health, reorder medications from your pharmacy, and even connect you directly with doctors. So Pilo is pretty interesting. Pilo is supposed to bring your family unit closer, as he sends notifications to allow your loved ones to know what's going on with you. So it's interesting. I definitely think he's creating some type of a buzz. And it's interesting, okay? Is he worth $300 or $400? I'm not quite sure about that. But he is the first in-home, and there'll be many others, competitors, but he is the first in-home assistant for medical questions and wellness. And I guess Pilo is supposed to be kind of an advisor. Again, he's connected to the internet. And he's supposed to make things a lot easier for you and for your family. So again, it's a home health robot that is basically going to dispense out your pills, staying on top of which pill goes to which person, keeping track of making sure you take them. Pilo is the personal home health robot, okay? That basically doesn't move around, it just sits on the counter. So you combine Pilo, and now when you combine a service like Siri, you get a pill dispenser, is what they basically came out with. So your personal home health robot, the skills are going to grow over time as we evolve. It can connect to other type of devices like blood pressure monitoring devices, glucose monitoring devices, and other types of devices that can manage and track statistics for you and for your doctor and medical professionals. It's interesting, and the thing that's very interesting about Pilo is that Pilo can actually have an intelligent conversation with you. Now, I don't want you to be fooled. Where's that coming from? All the intelligence on that is coming from the internet. Now, when it first said to come out, it was going to start to come out around $200 to $399. They have now changed the price. That's right. They actually just changed not too long ago, to being somewhere around $600. Okay? Pilo is not a reality right now. They still have a fundraising page, and they claim that if you want to get Pilo early, you can get him for $269 if you get in there. But they have to get quite a bit of money. They're estimated to have to raise over $758,000 just to be able to get Pilo into production. So, they're talking about $75,000 for this fundraising company is what they're looking for to get it going. It's going to be interesting, but I still feel that what it's going to do for us and the price, I don't know if it's going to be competitive enough for people and if everybody's going to want to buy it. That's probably my biggest concern. It's a nice thing to have, but I think it's going to be more of a gadget because other people are obviously going to come out with these kinds of gadgets, right? But when the first gadget comes out, it's always going to be the most expensive because you're paying for the latest and greatest. We know this with Intel and a lot of other companies out there that provide technology. So we talked about the iPhone 8 a lot in the last show, so I won't beat that to death anymore. The Apple Watch is getting a little bit of flack, I hear. And I'm not going to get too much into that, but that Apple Watch is just not doing what people wanted. And so there are two new versions of Apple's, the Apple TV 4K that's coming out now. They have the latest model for the 32K, and then they have the 64K model. And it's basically the Apple TV. It's the new Apple TV, and it has a wireless device, so it can be remote control, menu, mic, forward, pause, plus for up, minus for down, little TV button on the top there. And it's meant to have the functionality of what you would expect, but it's also going to have like a Siri type remote, so you're going to be able to talk to it. So because of the smart enablement, you're going to be able to get access to a wealth of instant entertainment with this product. We already know companies like Comcast and their TV internet branded division called Xfinity. You could hold a remote as of 3 or 4 years ago and literally press the remote and say Food Network or HBO or whatever show you want to say, and the intelligent remote would automatically select that. So definitely pretty neat. So what's new in the new Apple TV version here? So I did tell you that the one model comes with 32 gigabytes of RAM, and that's going to go for about $179.99, and then they have the 64K version for $199.99. And so what's new with this, beside the 4K technology? I'm sure you're pretty familiar with that, so I won't beat anything about that. The Siri remote is obviously pretty new. They've changed the power cord a little bit. They have the Lightning to USB, which they changed a little bit, not too much. And they're trying to put the package in there now that gives you the Dolby Digital Plus 7.1 surround sound. They have an A10X Fusion chip for supposedly ultra-fast graphics and performance. The voice search is basically by asking the Siri remote. That's what they call it, the Siri remote. And you're able to view photos and videos from your iPhone and your iPad on your TV. Netflix, iTunes, Hulu, ESPN, and lots of other apps are going to be in the App Store. So subscriptions are going to be required, of course, to get certain types of content. Live sports are subject to blackouts, as you would expect. And not all content, this is important, is going to be available in the 4K HDR or the 4K resolution, which requires a 4K capable TV. So the playback quality is going to depend on the hardware and the internet connection you have, meaning the basic pipe that you have coming into your house and how you have this connected, whether it's through a wireless connection or a wired connection. And so that's going to be interesting. They're going to have title availability, and they say the availability date is going to change because some of the applications are not available in all areas. So the application availability is going to be subject to change. They are constantly making some changes on what's actually happening with the product. The remote control is included, and the maximum supported resolution on this device is a 2160p 4K resolution. It is a wireless AC technology. Okay, you do get a 1-year warranty on it, and it does support all the major playable formats. I won't go into that right now. And so you have the 32K and the 64. And then there's also going to be some other accessories that you can get with this. Of course, you knew that was coming, such as the 6-foot 4K Ultra HDMI cable. It's available in black. You can get the Apple Watch Series 3. You can also get the Apple Watch GPS only without cellular. You're going to be able to get different types of digital media that you can purchase. So they're going to have stuff like that. And it's going to be interesting, but this is going to be the newest and greatest Apple TV. That's probably the most important thing that I want to tell you about. So they do have the Apple TV 32 gigabyte, okay, and that is actually the 4th generation. But again, what we're talking about now is going to be the new Apple TV 4K, okay, so, and then the 64K, as I had mentioned to you. So definitely that's going to be getting a lot of people interested, I can tell. You've probably heard a little about the Samsung Galaxy Note X. I'm not going to get too much into that. The Samsung virtual reality headset is now out. and you're able to pick that up for just under $130. It's going to allow you to have a virtual reality experience. So it's compatible with the Samsung Galaxy Note X. You can take adventures with you on the go. Complete 360 entertainment, or what they like to call immersion, that's the new buzzword, with the wide 101-inch field of view. And of course, it's powered by, you guessed it, Oculus. So they're giving you access to an exclusive library now of 550 premium titles. And you get the virtual reality controller, which is all included. Thanks. Isn't that nice? They include that with it. So what's it going to cost you? $129.99. I said to you, just under $30 is what it's going to cost. It comes in one color, ladies and gentlemen, Orchid Gray. So you get a choice of Orchid Gray, or Orchid Gray. Definitely interesting, you know, what they're trying to do with this. The weight is less than 0.62 pounds, so it's really a pretty light creature. It has a little remote control. You can make your world bigger by starting to explore the world with virtual reality. And again, they're doing this for games so that the games appear very lifelike. If you've ever watched a 3D movie on TV or in a movie theater, you actually have to put these special glasses on. A lot of times they're these cheap glasses that you have to return. They're kind of cheap, and they have little films in them. So it's different colors, and when you look at the screen, all of a sudden the dinosaur or something else just kind of pops out of the screen, or you're not expecting it, and then all of a sudden it just kind of comes out, and you're like, oh, wow. So that's kind of what this is going to do, and that's something that's been, that's something that's, I could say, that's really been on the cuffs for a while. So they brought the price down. If you remember when we first started talking about it, it was around $1,000 a few years ago. Then it came down to $600. Now it's only $129.99 with the controller. Not too terrible, is it? Not too terrible at all. So, the Nest thermostat, they came out with a new version. The thermostat E now has come down a little bit in price. You remember it used to be like $199? Well, now you can get the Nest E for only $169. They kind of made this one down a little lower price. They had the other one, which was the $249. But the Nest E is supposed to be a little more of a cheaper model, and it's not going to have as many features. It's a simple design, has the new frosted display, so it can blend the background, and they tried to make it, you know, so that it was less expensive. All right, so that's nice. I still like my Smart, and I can't say the word because if I say it, she's liable to start talking right now. THERMST. I can't say the word because she'll literally respond. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to see as the holidays come around. You probably know one of our big things that's happening is cyber attack is actually it's actually on the move again. And I have to tell you something. You know, all these companies out there are claiming that they're so secure, and these companies say they know everything, and that's wonderful. But I got to tell you, there's a lot of companies out there that are being foolish, and they're not taking the advice of professionals like myself and other companies, and they're feeling, oh, we're a small company, we don't have to worry about it. I got to be honest with you. The small companies they are going after the small companies. And because, see, the small companies have data about big companies because maybe they know they do business with big companies. So I think that's what we're starting to see. So everyone here is very vulnerable, not just Experian, Equifax, and Transunion, okay? Definitely not just those people. So it's very important that you learn how to secure not only your company, but you secure your brand, and that people trust you for the infrastructure that you put forth, and that you have the right policies and procedures should something happen to get out there. And, you know, there's different conferences coming out, you know, and they're trying to make a whole big buzz. But, you know, we've talked about this for years. And, you know, there's ransomware out there. And it really just comes down to this, ladies and gentlemen. Are you infallible of never making a mistake? I mean, everyone's going to make a mistake, right? So why not have a little bit of protection in your background? And because of that little bit of protection you're going to be able to have security. And this is why it's very important that you have something on board. And if you don't, well, I can tell you then it's going to be a problem. Because it's not a question, ladies and gentlemen, of if you're going to get attacked. That's not the question. The question is when, and do you have the right mitigation plans in place at your company, whether it's a small 4 or 5 person company, whether it's a large organization that has 11 to 50, whether it's a several thousand person organization, or maybe it's one that spans several states or across the United States or across the continents. It's important that everyone understands that mitigation of technology has to start with the company. And they first have to start with understanding that technology needs to be babysat or watched. Now, I know we don't like to use that word a lot, but technology is not infallible, ladies and gentlemen. It's not. And it's important that we have the infrastructures in place so that we can bounce back if technology goes down. We have proper mitigation plans. We have proper database recovery plans. Disaster recovery plans is the formal name. And if you don't have that plan in place, ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm telling you right now, if you don't have a plan in place, it's not if technology is going to fail. It's when it's going to fail. And is that failure going to make or break the livelihood of your company, or whether your company is going to stay in business or not? I'm giving you some advice, some friendly advice here tonight. And like I said, whether you own a small company, whether you're the CEO of a large corporation, it falls back on you, ladies and gentlemen. It really does. And you're probably saying, well, gee, it's not going to matter. You know, we've got everybody. We've got the top people. I don't care if you have the top people. You need to make sure that you understand the plan. And if your technology people cannot sit with you and make you understand how they're going to bring you back in a short amount of time, I think it's time for new technology people. I know any company out there that asks us, we're happy to tell them, and we work with a lot of other companies out there that actually may not have had a data plan to recover. We help them write one, and we train their own internal staff. If they have their own IT staff that we're supplementing, we train them how that's going to work. Because again, we even do things like mocking a false data crash, so that just like you have fire drills, ladies and gentlemen, it's very important to have a data disaster drill. Let's make us say, oh, the server went down. Never went down. We're just doing a test. Now, obviously, you don't do this when the company's at a major closing, a period or something. But certain people in the company know about this test. Maybe a couple people. The other people don't. And it's important that the people in the technology company or the company that you've employed, or your staff that's actually serving as your in-house technology, that they don't know about this test and they think it's real. That's important, because then they're going to react. And if they can't react, and then when they're kind of fretting and trying to get everything running, and you're seeing what's going on, and now they're going through everything, they're really pulling their hair out. That's when you're going to know, ladies and gentlemen, do you really have a technology plan that's going to help your company? And you don't know unless you test it. You really do not know. So, again, if companies like Equifax, Transunion, Experian, again, I don't mean to pick on them, but shame on them. And they had all these problems, right? They're supposedly the leaders in the industry that set the standard, okay? That big company with an M, I'm not going to mention their name, they had a disaster not too long ago. They decided to do website upgrades, and I couldn't get keys to activate a certain Windows product because they decided to do an upgrade. Now, that was all bull. There was no upgrade. They had a data issue. They had a server problem. I love it when technology people say, oh, we're in the middle of an upgrade. Yeah, you're in the middle of a freaking upgrade in the middle of a business day. Come on, get real, ladies and gentlemen. There are some times when you need to do an upgrade that's so critical, but it's rare that you can't schedule that to be off hours. Anyone that's trying to do a large network upgrade during a day when you're in a productive environment, they're a fool. I mean, they are a fool. And it's very important that you take the steps, because, let's face it, whether we're talking about the M company, other companies, upgrades don't always work the way they're intended. They do usually 80% of the time, but that other 20% of the time, don't quite go the way you would expect. And when this happens, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about not dollars. We're talking sometimes hundreds, thousands, in some companies, we're talking millions of dollars. Did you know that if an assembly line stops in some of these large companies for, I'm going to say, maybe 15 minutes to 30 minutes, they could be losing $1 million because their production lines are so high and they have tweaked their production in such a manner that it's so efficient that for every minute they're down, it costs them hundreds and thousands of dollars, or some up to $1 million for 30 minutes. That's why we say sometimes if a system is not working properly in a company and we don't maintain that system's health, it's going to bring the entire company down. I'll give you an example. If someone's credit card system were to go down, and your company primarily takes 90% of its business through credit card, don't you think that's going to cause a big bottleneck? Now, not just today, ladies and gentlemen, but it's also going to cause a bottleneck days down the road because now you've got to play the catch-up game. Now, I'm not talking about what comes in the bottle next to mustard. I'm talking about playing catch-up, C-A-T-C-H, not with the K, so that you actually can get your technology back. When your head person of your company says, hey, what's going on, and you don't have a clue to what's going on, that's a serious, serious problem. And I think as we deploy new technology in the market, whether we're talking about pharmacy benefit managers, whether we're talking from the technology person, again, the CIOs, CTOs, CFOs, financial directors, it doesn't matter. Everyone is accountable. And if a system goes down, they need to understand what's going to happen. And they need to have a good feeling that the infrastructure and the technology people are going to get them up in a very short period of time. In a disaster plan, it's very important to have time frames written down to say, look, this is what is going to happen when we go down. This is the steps. These are the servers we're going to move to. This is how we're going to migrate away from this disaster so we can get you back to operationing of running the company, and then how long it's going to take us to get back to full functionality. So again, there has to be those kinds of plans in place, ladies and gentlemen. That's really, really important. And it looks like it's time for us to take our first break. You stay right where you are, and we'll be right back after this short break. Computers always slow at your home or office. Pop-ups always appearing. Setting up smart devices like your iPhone, thermostats, downloading apps, and much more. Mention code JRC001 and receive a PC tweak for only $49.99. New clients only, please. Visit JMOR.com now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just tuning in, you have tuned into the JMOR Tech Talk Show. Live Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern to 9:57 p.m. Right here, you guessed it, on the Starcom Radio Network. So we're talking about technology. We're talking about technology trends, but we're also talking about technology, and I guess it's the importance or the responsibility of when it stops functioning, what is the chain of command to getting technology up? You know, and how much time is that actually going to take? And I know that you're probably saying, well, gee, that's not my responsibility. It's not your responsibility directly, okay? But indirectly, ladies and gentlemen, it's everyone's responsibility. If a company can't do business, that is a serious, serious, serious problem. I mean, really, really serious. So what is it that is going to make sure that technology is running? As I told you, a very successful data mitigation plan, disaster recovery plan to make sure that you can get things up and running. And I got to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. This disaster recovery plan does not just stem from technology like computers. It also encompasses things like what happens if we don't have access to our doors because the power goes out. Or is there a way to get out of the building? How do we make sure that certain parts of the building stay what they call fail secure, which means those doors are locked from the outside, but from the inside you can always get out, or doors that are always fail secure. So fail secure, which means that they're basically going to stay open in a disaster, and fail. So basically, in a secure environment, you have fail secure, and you have fail safe. Okay, so to fail secure, you're going to have basically an issue of the door being able to not open. In a fail safe, that means that the door is going to stay locked in that type. But a fail secure means that it's going to be opened in the loss of power or in the emergency disaster. So I know, ladies and gentlemen, that there is so much happening out there with new technology, and we know it's not far until some of this new artificial technology actually is going to hit the market, which we've talked about on some of the other shows. I think it's important that we all have an awareness of what is going on. And by having this type of awareness, we can very easily see, what's happening. And, are you being held accountable for things that are going to make a tangible impact on business? Are you? Or are you somebody that is just going to pretty much do whatever the heck they want to do? And I think, ladies and gentlemen, that's probably the most important thing I can share with you, is that it's all about accountability. Who is accountable at your particular company? And, do you follow things all the way through? There was an interesting thing that happened not too long ago. You're probably familiar with the toy store that ended in Chapter 11. And they filed for bankruptcy, and they're seeking to restructure over $400 million in debt. Resulted from a $6.6 billion buyout, from more than a decade ago. It just slowed its physical online growth. Why is that, ladies and gentlemen? That's because people that ran that company didn't understand the emergence and the evolving of where sales and technology was going. I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but you probably know who they are. They're in New Jersey. They did not see how important it was to have an online e-commerce store. They didn't have one. They just didn't have one. So what did they do? Well, about 6 months ago, they started to panic. A little bit too late. And they didn't hire people from the United States, ladies and gentlemen. They went and hired people overseas to come in on visas. They didn't hire people right in the United States. They hired people overseas to come in on visas to make an e-commerce solution. So the retailer, they right now they're in the middle of adding to the chain. 5 years of declining sales as they saw, and they're getting lots of competition from Amazon, who's $4 billion in the toy sales as of last year. And this retailer hopes that the bankruptcy filing is going to help it improve its online presence and tackle the holiday season. America is saying, and I quote, they're the largest toy chains around. That larger trends of retail bankruptcies are and declining sales among toy makers. I think it's because the products that are out there, they're not being made to last. That's probably the one important thing. And the thing that I also noticed by a few people that commented is this one store says that they are going to match prices of most items of competitors, like Amazon. But you have to ask. Now, companies like, you may know, Staples and a few other companies, and they're not the one I was talking about, they even match prices of Amazon. So how much can you give away when you're talking about profits? I mean, what are you willing to do? A lot of people say that they hate to see this. They know there's got to be an advance of technology, and the benefits of e-commerce are going to outweigh. But the problem is that this company is a little bit late in adopting for e-commerce technology, right? I mean, a multi-million-dollar toy company. Retail is changing, okay? And we're seeing more and more companies closing on retail. It's going to impact manufacturers such as, I'm going to say, Mattel. And people are saying that if this big toy store does go out of business, it won't be the same. Well, you know what the difference is going to be, ladies and gentlemen? Instead of you going to to go get your toys, you're going to go to Amazon. We've already heard that Amazon, the giant, they're not happy where they are. They want to get into the liquor industry, right? So what is it, ladies and gentlemen, about business and being able to adopt? These big toy stores are closing and even expecting to close more before and after the holiday season. I mean, that's just I don't know what to say about that, ladies and gentlemen. I mean that's just like, but the fact of the matter is that toy stores are definitely getting hit by this. We're also seeing right now, and I think this is interesting to bring up, that we always talk about these different people online. I want to mention to you that Facebook this week, they're not having such a great week. They had the ProPublica report showing that this giant is allowing advertisers to target users with racist terms. Now, remember I said to you once before, I'm not a big Facebook person, that's just me. And that's because I believe the company is solely driven on money. Now, nothing against that, but this is also why I choose, and my company chooses not to advertise with them, because I feel that once they learn demographics about me, there is no secrecy. I feel that they'll just sell it to the highest bidder. And we're seeing this right now with things like racist terms. I mean, come on. Facebook, and I quote, said that it would share political ads created by Russian troll farms with Congress to better understand the Kremlin's influence on the 2016 presidential election. I quote, and I quote again, Facebook had earlier denied access to the ads, which could have reached millions of Americans with diverse propaganda on privacy grounds. But as the pressure of Americans with diverse propaganda on the privacy grounds, but as this pressure mounts, Facebook's to crack down on fake news and fake ads. Close quote. And I quote one more time right from the CEO. I don't want anyone to use our tools to undermine democracy. That's not what we stand for. Close quote. I never liked the movie. Okay, nothing against the person directly, but I never liked the movie that came out. And I just feel the values to what the company was built on, they're not values that I agree with. That doesn't mean other people don't agree with them. I don't agree with them. And that's why I choose not to do business with them. We're starting to see things happen, such as a lot of techs are getting together, and a culture is changing. This happened in San Francisco, and having a toxic culture is becoming a challenge, and it's going to take multiple approaches to change this. So the Silicon Valley and the tech industry is attempting to resolve the apparent issues to its overall culture, and including the Uber board member that we're very, very familiar with. I think people are starting to realize, and this is the only way I think people wake up in our world, and you could tell me if you agree, ladies and gentlemen. I think people in our world, the only way they wake up is when we hit their pockets. That's when people wake up. When they learn that they're not going to make money anymore, that they're going to lose money, then they're like, oh, wow, well, maybe we shouldn't do that. Yeah, hello. Isn't it enough to make a decision on something based on whether it's going to be a good fit for everyone else before it makes you money? I mean, you can always get into something quick and make a big killing on money and then get out. But doing that many times is not ethical, and it's going to burn you down the road. And I have to believe, I'm a believer of karma. I think if you do the wrong things, karma's going to come back, and it's seriously going to give you what you deserve. That's my ultimate feeling. But as we look right now in some of the tech trends that are happening for for this week, a lot is changing, and I feel that our summer is winding down, and people are starting to understand, like I said, with the new iPhone coming out, and they're trying to make the big thing about helping the Harvey victims. I mean, Chrome is now going to allow a permanent mute feature. So pretty much every internet user is going to hate, but websites are going to keep using it. Google has this long history of siding with user experiences over business interests. So again, the tables are changing. The AR apps are coming out. They're starting to take over. The augmented reality is the term for them. Tech companies are decreeing with white supremacist groups. And these are becoming some other issues. Spotify's preparing to go public now. TechCrunch is putting on a Disrupt conference. They're preparing their own conference in San Francisco. And to attract startup companies and thought leaders who are to come together and learn about startup cultures and raising funds. They're really trying to create a big hype. Walmart and Google are joining to offer voice shopping. I mean, isn't Walmart big enough? Why is Walmart and Google doing this? I will tell you why they're doing this. It's because they couldn't work with Amazon. So Walmart's like, they took their hand and kind of, you know what I'm going to do. This is a G show, at least PG. They said, okay, Sean, you don't want to play ball with us? Great, we don't need you. We're going to go to Google. Today, ladies and gentlemen, it's not about if you can get something done. It's about how much money you're willing to pay to get it done. Well, stay right where you are. We're going to take another quick break, and then I'll be right back after this.
For IT services and data destruction, the JMOR connection should be your direction. Engineer technology to grow your business. Our custom solutions are at your service. JMOR should be your direction. The JMOR connection.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you are just checking in, you have reached the JMOR Tech Talk Show. We broadcast live Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern to 9:57 p.m. Eastern, right here, you got it, on the Starcom Radio Network. So, we're talking a lot, and I think something is very interesting that I've noticed is starting to happen. And that is that technology is starting to cause repercussions with people. Why, ladies and gentlemen? It's starting to affect people. These repercussions are starting to affect people, and that direct effect is causing them to lose money, and it's causing people to lose support. And I think that's the only thing, ladies and gentlemen, that makes people accountable is when they actually lose money. It's not nice to say, but that's what it is. We're seeing so much happen, and I think it's going to keep changing as we move forward through the end of the year. I think more technology is going to be developed, but I think we as consumers, as developers, as business owners, as family members, we have a right to understand and voice our opinion about technology. That's what I believe right now. And I think companies like the one I mentioned before, not saying anything bad about them, but when these companies get called on the carpet, they're all about politics, ladies and gentlemen. Let's face it. It's a political game because they know that if they don't keep your support, what happens? You pull out of their stocks. You cause them to lose market share. You cause them to lose their traction on the internet. So again, they don't seem to want to make a change until you hit them right where it hurts, and that's the wallet. And that's basically any CEO, ladies and gentlemen, any CEO. It's all about the bottom line. And technology needs to meet sustainability. That's really what the message is this week at a lot of the conferences, where technology has got to meet sustainability. Smart infrastructures, connected transportation and mobility. How are we going to scale power grids? How are we going to create renewable energy procurement, circular economy? How are we going to keep our city and regional areas very resilient? And, we've got many companies on board with these initiatives, these conferences, people like car manufacturers, control companies, other investment companies, and the list is going on and on and on and on. Today, it's not just about being good with technology. It's just, what do you stand for in your technology? What is it that you believe technology is going to do? And remember, because you're the head of something, you're really going to be kind of the captain of the ship, or the pilot of the plane. I think people are starting to understand now that technology changes are inevitable. I mean, companies like that large toy company, okay? You can't operate a toy company or a law firm the way you did 100 years ago. You just can't. You can't hang a sign out there and say, okay, we're open for business. Yeah, you might get some business. Some people come in and you may pay for the lights. You may pay your employees for a little while. But if you really want to make a dent in our economy, you have to do things like social marketing. You have to create brand awareness. You have to hire and find good brand ambassadors. That's what it's about. Getting business, ladies and gentlemen, it's a lot harder than it was many years ago. Because now you've got to show the world that you are socially responsible. I'm not talking about what you do in your personal life. That's your personal business. I'm talking about the social decisions you make with your business that affect other people. By what you develop, by what you deploy, how you support things, how you charge, what your privacy policies are, how you're going to be taking that data. Like, we have a very strong policy when we gather data, we never sell it to any third parties or any other affiliates or give it to them. There's so many companies out there, ladies and gentlemen, that's all about making that fast buck. And it's not nice to say, but these companies grow very quickly. Some go out of business, some get sold. Then they leave. But eventually, what happens is these companies go way up and then they fall way down, because it's just like I've told you, ladies and gentlemen, many times before. When you build a house or a building on a false foundation, what are you going to get? A structure that's going to crumble. So if you build your empire on false premises, on false goals, or on all baloney, you're going to have challenges. People are going to flee from you because the trust that you once had will be gone. I've said this to many people, whether it's in business or whether it's personally. You can actually take years to build a person's trust. Years. And you can lose that trust in a matter of seconds. Now, you can get it back, too. But you can just lose that trust in just a matter of seconds. That's how important our effects are on other people. And I think people out there and businesses are starting to understand that business now is not just about getting money. It's about a social, economic responsibility. And those companies out there that are not doing that, we're going to see them closing their doors. Because this world we're going into 2018 and beyond, it's a new world, ladies and gentlemen. It's a totally new world and a new set of business principles. So everything you've read about business, everything you've read about marketing, everything you've read about how to gain clients, it's all wrong up until this point. It's totally changed. We've now got to prove ourselves and explain to people why it's not just about price. There are going to be those people, ladies and gentlemen, believe me, that are all about price. It's going to happen every single day. But the people that you work with and the people that understand what your foundations are will eventually come around. They may give you a hard time, but they're going to hang with you for the long haul. And it's because there's so many people, ladies and gentlemen, in business that do things unethically. I know we've taken a big, tangent here. But it's really the truth. You know, when we started with this show, we started talking about technology, some of the designs, where things are going, and they had very little social impact. Then I started getting into some other areas in the show. And these other areas are what's causing problems. It's what's causing people and company leaders to either fall or climb. A company that's growing today might be wonderful, but if they don't acknowledge one simple point, and they don't understand that their boss is not really their boss. Even if you own a company, small company, your boss is your clients. Now, I'm not saying they should tell you what to charge and things like that, but they are your clients. They are the ones that you need to make sure you not only satisfy them from a perspective of the services you offer, whether it's a technology business, whether it's a repair business, whether it's a painting business, whether it's a management business. It doesn't matter. If you can't provide the services that you provide, first of all, you shouldn't be in business. That's number one. But number two, in the new world of business, you need to also make sure that you're taking care of that client above and beyond their needs. You're making sure that you save the money. And the third way is you make sure that you help build other relationships. Getting people into that client. Because if you get other people into that client and other clients are there working, they're not going to want to get rid of you. You've helped save the money. You've brought another business partner in there. And now you're kind of creating this knit team and you're all working together. See, everyone's all about that fast buck. But really, the big buck is made over time. It's made over trust and it's made over integrity. And that's why we always say that sales is in it for the long game, not the short game. A salesperson that's successful for so many days is great. A salesperson that's successful for a month is great. A salesperson that does the right thing and is successful months and months out will be successful years to come. Because he or she understands. It's the premise of doing what's necessary to not only please that client, but to wow them. And I think as we move forward into this year of 2018, our brain is going to be perplexed quite a bit. It's going to be challenged by different products that come out there. And there's going to be a lot of products that come out there. There are going to be some real lousy products. They're going to come out, believe me. I think it's important that whatever technology you deploy, whatever technology you use, you understand this one thing, and I drive this home every show. We all have a socio-economic responsibility to use our technology in a way that is beneficial for the highest good of everyone else. I said to you before, a tool presented to you, take it a gun, a dart, if it's used in the proper manner, it is a tool. If it's used improperly, it becomes a weapon. That is really, really important. Computers can be tools to help people. Okay, but if you use them for deceitful and malicious practices, they're weapons. They're weapons. So, ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you to, keep being mindful about what's going on. Know that if you have a business and it's been around for a long time, be open to change. Because the way of attracting new clients, it's changing. And if you're not open to that change, your company's not going to grow. And companies that are not growing are dying. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I do have to run. It's been a great show. We will see you next week on the JMOR Tech Talk Show. From all of us at the JMOR Connection Incorporated, we'd like to thank you for listening and invite you to join us again next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to tell your friends, colleagues, and associates about the JMOR Tech Talk Show. We're here every Thursday night on the Starcom Radio Network at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you missed any of our shows, you can just walk on over to jmor.com, click on social, and then under JMOR Radio, just click on previously recorded episodes. We'll see you next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Have a great week.